So we're going to talk about some analysis. We're going to talk about a number of coins, a number of things, a number of reasons why I think this market is absolutely fine. So hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new, make sure you've subscribed. Hit the bell button, leave a like and a comment. Now on the screen you can see my subscriber rate. Sorry, it looks a bit braggish, I do apologise, but I want to just kind of say thank you to all the people who have supported me in this journey. I want to get to 50,000 subscribers by Friday, right? That's the goal. If you ask me in, let's just talk here a year ago, right? 13th of April 2020 at 6,500 subscribers, when literally the arse fell out the whole entire industry. If you said 50,000 next year, I would have probably walked away and laughed at you and gone, clueless, mate. But I want to say thank you. Unbelievable growth, and I do thank everyone. So I put a poll out yesterday on Twitter, as you can probably allude to, asking, do you want more analysis videos? Because I'm getting quite bored of doing the same sort of thing. I know, talking about 5 coins to do this, that and the other, yes, some of them are quite successful overall, but I like analysing. I'll speak again. I like to do analysis. There we go. So we're going to talk about a few things. Now I've got like a post-it note of dreams here, and we're going to talk about it. Now obviously the thumbnail, right, is explaining to you there's something that you need to watch on this if you are totally new to this space. It's called timing. Now there's two little phrases that people like to go off. Time in the market, as in experience, and then time in the market. So those people that get lucky and, but it's not luck all the time, right? People get found out if it's luck. You'll soon realise that when the bear market comes. Trust me on that one. I'm not going to mention any names on that one. Anyways, this is the first bit of education that you need to be acquiring, requiring, hiring, having, doing, whatever, right? Whatever words I'm talking about. The dominance chart. It is the time element, which is why this thumbnail is very, very important to get you in and hooked. If you do not understand what this means, it means that you need to kind of get a grip with it. Now, everyone's different. I get a lot of weird comments. I do apologise. If you are reading them, I know a lot of people jump on them, but Satoshi values is the crust of everything, and when you kind of take away that crust, you start to unravel all kinds of beautiful little gems called undervalued, overvalued, and timing, right? Overvalued and undervalued asset, if it's in the BTC pair, the chances are it's probably more true than the USD pair. You got to remember the USD pair is weighted by Bitcoin alone, right? Be careful. So when we talk about analysis here, this is simple, right? When the Bitcoin dominance chart is going down, you need to be in altcoins, right? When it is going up, you need to be in Bitcoin, i.e. to basically take some profit and put it into Bitcoin. It's more stable. So when we look at this, your altcoins in Satoshi value. So if you're on Delta or if you're on Blockfolio, if you toggle the top bit and it will tell you how much your entire worth is in Bitcoin, you'll probably find it is dying. It is melting. The head's falling off it, right? It's just bleeding out. However, if it's the other way around, so for example, I was loading up in cheap altcoins around this point, 70 and above. Didn't really, it melted my portfolio a little bit at the time, but it's all right. And now we've been enjoying this beautiful influx of BTC value. This dominance chart is going to continue to fall, in my opinion. And what I believe is going to happen is we're going to basically, in my opinion, I feel, not financial advice of course, we're going to probably retest around this area because Bitcoin's a bit bullish at the moment, and we're going to then fall even lower because everything in the altcoins are starting to pick up. Volumes increasing, search volumes increasing as well, use case and usage of certain coins such as BNB as an example. More exchange coins are getting more and more obviously interesting, and we've got Ethereum 2.0, Polkadot parachains, all kinds of good stuff happening. So people are still buying the altcoins. Now, why do we know that? Well, going over to the total 2 chart, this is still rising. As I've alluded to before in previous videos, this is the bull market trigger for me. That's how I work it out. Everyone's different, I know. You probably watch different YouTubers talk about different things. But for me, if that is trending up on a higher time frame, whether that is a 3-day or the weekly, and it looks like that, it's bullish, right? So when this is going down, bear market, when this is going up, bull market, we've had it in the past before, right? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out what's bull and what's bear in this market if you know what to look for. So looking at that, looking quite good. We're going towards that $1 trillion in altcoin worth alone. Very, very important to know that. Is it undervalued? Really? I don't know. Probably. Bitcoin is over what's Bitcoin worth? 1.1 trillion, give or take, roughly now. Crazy when you think about 8,000 altcoins are not worth that. Mental. Anyways, moving on, let's talk about some analysis. So we'll talk about BNB first because it's the most obvious, right? Pulling back quite aggressively. Now, this is kind of the chart that I've got so far, right? I mentioned it yesterday or the other day or whatever it was, can't remember. We need to wait for essentially a top to appear so we can kind of go, well, let's see where it can go. Now, again, the interest is always going to be here. We have got an obvious bearish divergence of the RSI. It was always going to pull back. That candle was the exhaustion. It's like, boom. By the way, if you want to understand how markets change, usually a big massive run like that, they pop very, very hard at the end. So that's going to pull back. Now, where are we looking? Well, if we're looking for obvious levels, in my opinion, I don't think it's done yet. I think BNB will continue to go up. It needs to retrace first. So what we're looking at, in my opinion, I think we could be looking very, very tasty around this level here, this $480, maybe even $500 psychological level. People may step in. And it depends on obviously what BNB do. They love high marketing. They love doing certain things to make their coin worth more. Burns, scarcity, let it reset. It'll probably continue going up. Will it go even lower than that? Possibly, yes. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, we all know what could happen in this market, but we'll see. This may well be an exchange bubble, but I do believe that more and more exchange coins will go and push even higher. Looking at the BTC pair, again, this is like a perfect little alignment, and it's kind of made me so happy that I understand Fibonacci the way I do. This is perfect. This is how a chart moves, and this is why the BNB/BTC pair is so much more in value and weight versus that USD chart. This is the perfect top. It literally shows you it. So from this swing low to this high, it retraced into a nice consolidation band. This is on a 3-day chart, by the way. This is monster levels, by the way. So this is not like, this is what it looks like in a daily time frame. Absolutely perfect swing all the way up to the upside, right to the top. Absolutely beautiful. I accredit you with Fibonacci training. It is the best thing ever. So when you start talking about that, that is how a market moves. Impulse, pullback, consolidation, pop, boom. The other way, you can do it the other way around as well if you're in a bear market. But that's perfect. So analysis, top, in my opinion, local top's in. It's going to retrace. Look out for 480 on that level. If you are trading in BTC pairs alone, you will need to reset this. So if you want to reset this, personally, what I would go from is this low to this point here and see where it goes. For me, you're probably going to be looking at these levels, give or take. It may go lower because BTC is quite powerful. If BTC is bullish, it will probably fall a lot lower. So just be careful of that. Other things to look at and want to look at is obviously XRP. Now again, ooh, waiting for the comments to come out and go, oh yeah, knobhead, look at you, XRP. So for me, this is the obvious. If I'm looking for something to look at, I would look at this point here. So again, looking at the daily time frame, if you want to do a fib on this point, you want to see where it is. For me, it's going to get to an interesting area very, very soon. This level here is very, very interesting. It has confluence as well with a resistance level from the past and also multiple levels of support as well for a brief period of time. Then it became resistance here at this EMA point, and then it just melted. So that's an important level. But if you zoom out on this as well, this whole level has a huge amount of weight. So I'm expecting it to go there at some point, probably even higher. But the one thing with this is you can actually unpeel the curtain even more and look, it's been a lot higher. So you've got to do it in stages. You can't just go, I'm going to go to the moon, I'm going to go there, you know, like some people do. You've got to do it in stages, because if it gets to this point, it may well be like, oh, I'm a bit tired now, I want to retrace. And it probably will, and then it'll probably get more juice. People panic sell, flap, whatever. I said, oh my God, XRP is a peep of poo again. You know what people are like, it happens. So just keep an eye on it. But for me, I'm expected to at least go there, or at least retrace towards this top point, and then it'll probably pull back. I may well pull back very, very soon. If you zoom in, it's looking all right though. It's looking all right. It's looking pretty strong. It's had one push, one pullback. Another push, had a little pullback here, but it carried on going. So just wait and see what happens. But for me, if Bitcoin's powerful, this may well struggle a little bit. But if Bitcoin retraces and stays still, this will probably keep going essentially a little bit longer, because there's a lot of hope about it. But if we're looking at the USD pair, we've not been to this point for such a long time. If we go to the weekly time frame, you know, the data, we don't have the data, which is I can't be bothered finding it, let's be honest. But if we are looking at certain levels, obviously we've had this massive breakout. Essentially, it's been a monstrous breakout, let's be honest here. You know, from this level, let's just say, give or take around that point, it just went and exploded, you know, on the weekly time frame. It's looking pretty awesome. So you can see here's our 1 rejection, 2 rejection, and then boom, off you go, my friend. So yeah, just keep an eye on it. But for me, I wouldn't FOMO into that. Yes, it looks undervalued in BTC pairs, but if you're literally looking at the USD pairs, it's a problem because that chalk and cheese comparison is a bit different. You don't want to go too deep on it. Other things to look at and what I want to kind of go on, I know this video might be a little bit longer today, but obviously Ethereum, right? Ethereum, in my opinion, targets to 2,250 at least short term. Why? Because obviously you can kind of allude to the fact of this. So we've got one impulse and it pulls back in and around this region. So we've already hit over that point. That's a potential support level now and going higher. But for me, I personally prefer this one, this retracement from this low, from this high, sorry, to this low. That's where these levels are. And for me, I think 2,500 is also pretty much not too far away. But that's all we've got to go on. We've got to go on current structure. We've not really got much, unless you want to go from a much deeper point and see where it actually does retrace. So if we want to do this, let's just say, I don't know, let's go from this low level here to this top. You know, we retrace very, very nicely to the 382 level. Yes, 2,500 and 3,100 if you're looking at the bigger swing. So again, keep an eye on those levels. That could be interesting. But for me, I'm going to go, I like to go in stages and steps. Yes, if you're higher frequency sort of trader, you want to go for what I look at. If you're more longer term, look at the bigger swings, but it's entirely up to you. I like to look at it from an analysis point of view. So I like to go from each impulse because I like to know where it stops and starts so I know when to kind of do things. It kind of makes a bit more sense for me. Again, I've mentioned this a few times now. This is consolidating quite nicely in and around this range, and it's probably going to pop off. It is still in a bull trend, as you can kind of allude to. A load of, I can obviously see these higher lows are kind of appearing here, and obviously higher highs. So next higher high, maybe we may well see a big influx in Ethereum pushing. Now let's talk about the obvious in the room, Bitcoin. Why? Because why not? Let's be honest here. Again, all-time high levels I've kind of somewhat breached. This is like the previous all-time high. We're just above it right now. If I zoom in, hello, there we go. Cool. So you can somewhat see the trend. It's kind of obvious. It's a bull trend. Don't be short on it. But there is a monstrous RSI divergence that we do need to highlight essentially. So for me, even looking at this, right, for example, here, we had a bearish divergence there. So this one here, the previous move, this is going down, this is going up, right? Boom. It's already happened, already played out. But we've got another one here. So don't get too caught up in the motions. Do not be dumping your altcoins to get into Bitcoin because you're going to get a few percent, you're going to lose out. Essentially, yes, you may be bleeding Satoshis at the moment because it's pushing, but fundamentals are key. You know, altcoins are still bullish as hell. The total 2chat is still going up, as you've probably seen from this video. But this is obviously going up. Boom. And this is obviously going down. Yes, it hasn't closed yet. But if I'm going to be a betting man, I'm going to argue that maybe we're probably not going to make, that's on the 2-day chart by the way as well. So if you look at the 3-day chart, it's also appearing. It's a long way to go. That is like, what, 6-7% give or take. That's quite a lot to push in a matter of 2 days. So we'll see what happens. It may well not play out, but if we're looking at the daily time frame, again, it's all very much relevant. Okay, just keep an eye on it. So we may well see a dip in opportunity for Bitcoin, which may well unsettle the market a little bit. Moving on to the last one that I do want to talk about very, very briefly is what I mentioned yesterday, which is Swissborg. Now, I mentioned this yesterday because I personally feel this is hugely undervalued. I know that the BTC yield and the BNB yield is going live on their yield platform very, very soon, right? In literally very, very soon, right? It's going to get a lot of interest. Now, for me, if we're looking at exchange tokens, look at BNB, but this is also retraced very, very nicely in the BTC pair, but also in the USD as well. It's literally $1. Now, if you lock up 2,000 on their platform, beautiful, I know, not a massive number, you can get 1.5x on your yield, so a little bit extra on your yield, and I think it's pulling back very, very nicely. So if you are looking to accumulate an exchange token and use it as a savings account, which is what I do, Swissborg is definitely one for you. But if we're looking at long-term kind of projections on this, if we're looking at the lower sort of swing from this point, in my opinion, to this top, we've pulled back very, very nicely in and around this 50% level. We've had one support level, probably going to hit it again. We may go even lower, But for me, I think the catalyst will be those BNB and Bitcoin yield transactions and the ability to lock up your tokens, which isn't out yet. A lot of people will be looking to lock up 2,000 tokens for that. So that could be interesting. If that does happen, if we are looking at the bigger swing, as I mentioned before, sometimes go for the big swings, sometimes go for the little swings, and we are going to go in, let's just say we shoot from this point here, give or take around this level. If we're looking at this as a potential liquidity zone, in and around where this region is, or maybe front run it just above it, we'll see. Again, don't go for exact numbers. If you miss the boat, you miss the boat. It's your own fault. Long as you are not FOMOing on these $1.60 candles, it's fine. Look for the best value, but obviously don't trip over pennies. You'll lose on pounds. Trust me, you always will. So that could be of interest, in my opinion, in and around that box region, which is literally 93 cents to 80 cents. Try and look to see if it goes in that order. If it goes in that area, you may well find that that could be interesting, but just be careful. There's a lot of liquidity here. There's been a massive consolidation range. It will pop from that point, in my opinion, especially if fundamental news comes out about a lot of new things happening. So enjoy. I hope you like this video. Leave a like, leave a comment and a subscription if you like it. So yeah, see you again very, very soon.